The former top law enforcement official in the country has confirmed to investigators that the disgraced, impeached former president enlisted the Justice Department in his scheme to steal the election, and that he was plotting with a mole inside the department itself to do it. Those revelations came from Jeffrey Rosen, Trump's former acting attorney general, who delivered closed-door testimony to the Senate Judiciary Committee on Saturday and spoke to the DOJ's Office of the Inspector General on Friday. In doing so, Rosen pointed the finger at this guy, Jeffrey Clark, a Trump loyalist and member of the Conservative Federalist Society, who was then serving as the acting head of the DOJ's Civil Division. The New York Times reports that Rosen told investigators that Clark admitted to meeting with Trump and pledged that he would not do so again. And yet Clark still continued to press colleagues to make statements about the election that they found to be untrue. Additionally, Rosen discovered that Clark had been engaging in unauthorized conversations with Trump about ways to have the Justice Department publicly cast doubt on President Biden's victory. This comes after we learned that Clark had tried to send a letter to officials in Georgia, pressing them to nullify the will of the voters. Separately, we've learned from Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy that Clark drafted a version of that letter for not just Georgia, but for 6 states in total, more than enough to overturn the election results. Given how close Trump came to usurping power in what amounts to an actual coup, the question now is whether he and his enablers, like Clark, will be held accountable. Joining me now is Senator Sheldon Whitehouse of Rhode Island. And Senator Whitehouse, thank you for being here. You were in that entire hearing. What did you learn that you think the public needs to know?
Well, the committee rules, unfortunately, keep me from describing anything I learned in that room. But clearly, with a public reporting that's already out, shows something that ought to be of really grave concern, and that is a scheme involving a junior subordinate within the Department of Justice to basically try to roll the senior members of the department into taking action to provoke election returns to be reversed in a whole variety of swing states. And I think that's pretty clear from the proposed letter that the subordinate drafted. It's a matter of public record that that letter is out there, and it's also a matter of public record that this guy was the confirmed head of the Environment and Natural Resources Division, which doesn't have a whole lot of say over elections, and he was just acting as the civil chief, but again, no role in elections. So peculiar for a subordinate Senate confirmed to the ENR position to be messing around, proposing ideas to the acting attorney general, and particularly proposing really pretty preposterous ideas like this one.
Did you, in sitting through that, even if you can't give us the specifics of what you heard, in your view, how close did we come to what amounts to a coup d'etat? Because if you have the president of the United States attempting, or through a subordinate or through an ally in the Justice Department, looking to overturn as many as 6 states' elections, and then that is followed by a violent insurrection that has the same purpose, how close, in your view, did we come to seeing essentially our democracy thrown out the window this year?
I think pretty damn close. I think we've got a lot of work to do to figure this out. So far, we know from January 6th a lot of what happened in the building as the assaulters attacked the Capitol to disrupt the election. And we know a lot here of what happened in the building as a subordinate tried to cook up a plan with the White House to trigger states to overturn the election. What we don't know is who was behind those things. And were there connectivities between who was asking or telling the subordinate, Jeffrey Clark, what to do, and who was organizing, supporting, orchestrating the assault on the Capitol? There's a lot that we need to know. We're only looking at the surface right now in the Capitol of who went into the building, who the trespassers were. Nobody's been charged who had any kind of a role, who was not in the building, who might have been an organizer or a conspirator. And same here, we're going to have to look behind the protagonists, or I should say behind the bit players, to see who the architects of the scheme were.